Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we're going to be looking at the mid-June 2016 CAPE Management of Business Unit 1 Paper 1. So we're looking at the 2016 Paper 1 for CAPE Management of Business MOB Unit 1. But of course, before we jump into the video, you must like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when Learn SKN drops another MOB video. Alright, so let's just jump right into this one from naturally number one. Number one, in which of the following activities is the tertiary sector of the economy engaged? And we all know that the tertiary level, the tertiary sector, is all about services. You have the primary, secondary, the tertiary. Primary is extractive, secondary is construction and manufacturing, processing, and the tertiary is all about providing services, and thus your answer is B. Number two, nationalization is best defined as a situation where, and so nationalization, we're talking about when a government decides to take ownership of a private business. A lot of persons are afraid to invest in certain countries, like certain communist countries or socialist countries, because any minute the government can just take over your business and say that's ours, we're running it from now on. So that's nationalization for you, when the government takes over ownership of a once private business. Number three, so the answer is of course C. Number three, the term technological obsolescence refers to technology being A, outdated. Again, we saw this one on the 2014 paper, and so it's coming back again. And so technological obsolescence refers to technology being outdated. Then we have number four. Again, a repeater. Trade liberalization may best be described as, and we said that before, when you liberal trade, liberal means to free. We're talking about freeing up trade, and so trade liberalization speaks to the removal or reduction of barriers and restrictions in trade. And so the answer, of course, is B, the removal of trading barriers, tariffs reduced, tariffs removed, non-tariff barriers removed, restrictions removed, licenses removed, those kind of things. So that's what trade liberalization is all about. Freeing up trade, making trade easier among the players. Number five, growing interdependence and free movement of capital among countries are features of. So we're talking about countries in general. So the globe becoming more interdependent, interconnected, linked. And we have free movement of capital. You can start the business here, there, everywhere. You can buy stocks, sell stocks. Free movement of capital. And so the best thing that this describes is, of course, globalization. Globalization. You see a lot of countries, a lot of companies in the world have their taxes, their tax havens. They move the money from one offshore bank to the next. You see companies relying on different countries to get production done. Look at China, one of the main places for production for a lot of big companies. Apple's produced their iPhones with 1 million parts from different parts of the world. So everything is interdependent, interconnected, and so that's globalization for you in a nutshell. Number 6. Which of the following is the lowest hierarchy of objectives? And so we have an interesting one here. We have A, tactical, B, strategic, and C, corporate. And so if you look at the hierarchy of objectives in the textbook, you'll see them list out a whole bunch. And of these three, here what they ask, which of the following is the lowest in the hierarchy of which of the following is the lowest. Is lowest, not the lowest, lowest. And so the best answer is tactical. Under tactical, you have operational. So the last one is operational, but it's not here. So you have tactical, you have strategic, you have corporate, in that order. So in this case, tactical would be the lowest in the hierarchy. Decisional is not really a part of that. Decisional is just all these tactical, strategic, corporate are decisional objectives. You're making decisions based on certain objectives. So the answer is tactical. And tactical is normally done by like mid-management and that level. We are corporate, and so it's from the upper echelon of a company. Number 7, which of the following is not likely to be considered a corporate objective? Again, corporate to the top. And so the best answer is A, labor relations. You let your lower end management deal with that. You let your subordinates, your supervisors deal with the labor relations. Let them deal with that, lower end. But profit maximization, of course, you want to set that at the very top. Growth and survival, that's from the very top again. And of course, corporate responsibility, that comes from the head honchos, the top. And so the best answer here is A. Number 8, which of the following is a benefit of a multinational corporation to the host country? I repeat it again. And so the best answer here is the benefit. Let's say, let's look at B. Better access to local natural resources. That's not a benefit because they're going to exploit it, right? So that's not a benefit. C, better knowledge of customers' tastes. They said to the host country. The host country already know what's going on there. Lower transportation costs for a finished product. That's not true because the product might go overseas to the next partners. The best answer is increased foreign exchange earnings for the host country. The country that's hosting the multi-corporation, they will have increased foreign exchange earnings. Number 9, a benefit of a private limited company over a partnership is that private limited company A affords shareholders limited liability. In partnership, based on the nature of the partnership, at least somebody, partner, gonna have unlimited liability, which means that they are subjected to lose more than they invested. And so private limited company, public limited company, all of them has limited liability. The company has limited liability. You can only lose what you invested. So that's why the answer is A. Number 10, Singh's engineering company and Ram's electrical firm have decided to work together on a government project to construct a bridge. This type of arrangement can best be referred to as, and of course, two companies coming together for a common good, a joint venture, right? A joint venture. It's not a franchise. We know what a franchise is. KFC, those kind of things, Domino's, franchise and franchisee. Cooperative, that's not it. That's members coming together for a common good. But the best answer is, of course, a joint, as in joint, both of us working together, a joint venture. Number 11, President Lewis is concerned that although the business strategy adopted promises to make the company profitable, the business operation could have a negative impact on the community. Which of the following types of issues most accurately represents the president's concern? And so the best one here is, of course, the ethical issue, because you're making profits, so that's good financially, but you have a negative impact on the community, and so you care about that. Some unethical business would say, oh well, I don't care, I'm making more money, so they go on ahead and do it. So it's ethics. It's all about ethics in this case. I suppose they put President Lewis to try to make it a little political, but I believe they're talking about the president of the company, of the business. And at the end of the day, all ethics, a lot of them come down to ethics. Number 12, which of the following phrases best explain the cost of unemployment to a country? And so unemployment means persons are not working, they don't have a job, and if you don't have a job, that means you don't have any money to buy anything, and if you don't have any money to buy anything, that means that your demand for goods would fall, and so that's why the answer is D, reduce demand for goods and services, because you don't have any money, right? You don't have any money, so therefore you're not going to buy. The law of demand states as the income drops, your demand drops. So, yeah. Number 13, which of the following statements represents an advantage of trade liberalization? And I mentioned trade liberalization above, where we say it's the freeing up of trade, dropping barriers, restrictions. And so, what's a advantage of reducing all these restrictions and barriers? And so they say a level playing field is provided for all countries. Yes, that is true. But who can take advantage of that playing field? Right? Just the major players, the big players. The small countries, they're going to get their lunch eaten. So that's not really an advantage in reality. B, home producers are protected from unfair competition. Not true, because you cannot use protectionism when it is trade liberalization. So home companies, that's it for them. D, infant industries thrive well against competition. Not true, because as I say, infant industries, they're just starting. The cost might be a little high compared to other countries who are in it longer, other companies who are in it longer and experiencing, economies of scale, reduction in costs. So the best answer is C, for the customers. They are able to purchase a wider variety of goods. Number 14, which of the following statements represents the advantage of a franchise to a franchisee? And so the franchisee is the person who is taking on the responsibility to run a franchise from the franchisor. So what's the advantage there? And the best advantage there is, of course, D, research and development support is provided by the franchisor. I mean, let's go. A, royalties are received from the franchisor. No, it's the other way around. The franchisee is supposed to pay the franchisor royalties, and they can be high. B, the initial capital investment is relatively low. Not true. To start this business is very expensive. To buy the name, set up everything, it's kind of expensive. And so that's not an advantage in any way, shape, or form than a greenfield business. C, the franchisee exercises total control over the franchise. No, because the franchisee has to do what the franchisor say to a certain degree in terms of color scheme, the ingredients, that kind of thing. So they don't really have much of a say in that one. Okay, good. So the answer is D. Number 15. A Caribbean island has been experiencing a decline in gross domestic product (GDP) for the past 6 months. How would this economic situation affect local producers? So you're a local producer and GDP is declining, output is declining. How would that affect those producers? The answer here is D, reduced demand for workers. Why? If output is going down, then that means that you no longer require the same workforce if you're producing less, right? So the people are going to become unemployed. So you have a little recession kicking in here. People becoming unemployed, and so you would have a lower demand for workers. Number 16. The manager of the promotions plus sometimes yields to workers when they make suggestions. They sometimes give in to him as well. Which of the following conflict handling modes does this demonstrate? And so we have soothing, compromise, collaboration, and confrontation. So clearly it's not confrontation because nobody's standing up to nobody. It's not collaboration, nobody going along with each other's ideas. Nobody working together like that. You say, okay, that's your idea, let's run with your idea, and without coming together for it. Soothing is just not. Soothing is where you basically say, okay, I'll do it because to avoid conflict, I'll do it. You're not really standing up for much. So the best answer is B, compromise. Okay, one time I give in, next time he gives in. So we're compromising. You have to give to get, right? A give and take situation, and you can see it right there. That's compromising. Number 17. Which of the following is a non-financial reward? So nothing that monetarily rewarding. So you have gain sharing, of course, that's when you make your profits and you give them a piece. Everybody get a little increase. So that's money. Lump sum bonus, no, because that's money. Employee stock ownership plan, you get some stock, that's financial. That's a little, you can sell it for some cash. But the best answer is B, job enrichment. You get motivated from within. You feel good about yourself. You're intrinsically motivated, and so that's rewarding for you. The work itself is rewarding for you. Number 18. Most workers feel that their jobs are threatened when new production methods are introduced in a company. Which area of change would workers be most concerned about? And so the best answer here is technical, because we're saying that we're introducing new production methods. So your skills, your technique, your job, your skill set, in essence, is what's of concern. Because if you don't have the proper skill set to go somewhere else, or to operate in new machinery, or understand new technology, then you might find yourself out of a job. You might find yourself not be able to cope because your skill set is not up to standard with the new method and the technology. So you're concerned with the technical aspect of it all. Number 19. Effective communication is distorted when? This one seems very popular. We saw it in 2013, 2014. This is 2016, this year again. So effective communication is distorted when? C, body language and information are not aligned. Body language and intonation are not aligned. Again, the example we gave, where you're delivering some serious news with a smiling face. Like, that's just contradicting. That could cause a little hesitance in what you're saying. So, yeah, C. Number 20. Employee at JC Limited complained that their manager does not give them the opportunity to express their views and feelings about decisions made by the company. Conflict is likely to result because of, and this one is a clear management style issue. He's authoritarian, autocratic leadership, and so he don't really hear out his subordinates, and so you can have conflict based on that management style. 21. Which of Maslow's hierarchy of needs would an organization be satisfying if it provides its workers with a pension plan? And so again, we said a pension plan offers some level of security. So that's B. So security, some level of financial security when you're retiring. Right? So that's why it's B. 22. According to McGregor, how do managers who subscribe to Theory X subscribe to Theory X view expect workers to treat the concept of responsibility? Again, some managers are just like this. Even in today's modern world, they still have this view, this Theory X view, where they're saying that workers are expected to avoid, so that's B, avoid responsibility. Some say workers are inherently lazy and so they have to push and pull and that kind of stuff. That's old school way of thinking. But yeah, the answer is B, avoid responsibility. They look down, they kind of look down on workers, think workers are a little beneath them, 23. Poor management and personality clashes in organizations often lead to conflict. Personality clashes lead to conflict. Poor management styles lead to conflict. 24. A project-based firm assigns workers from each department to its various projects. The resulting structure is described as a... And so, if you look at the structures in the textbook, there's not really a circle type or hierarchical type. The best answer is matrix. The matrix structure, you're coming from across different departments to try and get the project done. So the best answer is the matrix. Number 25. Cindy is a new manager in charge of a group of young, inexperienced employees. Which of the following types of leadership style would be most suitable in a situation where Cindy's team must meet a very tight deadline? And so the best answer here is, of course, the autocratic. People might look down on autocratic style, but it has its place. It has its advantages and disadvantages, which are higher, but there's some advantages to it. And one such advantage is in a situation like this, because I realize that they are young, they're inexperienced, and you have a deadline to meet. So you need quick decisions that are accurate, and so the best thing to do is authoritarian. Now, democratic, they are young and inexperienced. Democratic takes a while. These kind of decisions take a while to come up because everybody have a say, and then everybody, voice their opinion, and you listen and you weigh, and so it takes a while. But you need tight deadlines, so you ain't got time for the democratic style. Laissez-faire, even more, because laissez-faire is whatever, do what you want, just make sure when deadline come, the work is there. But there's no tight rein to manage. So the best answer is autocratic. 26. When employees are allowed to develop and carry out plans with high level of effort, they are applying Fayol's principle of initiative. Initiative. Authority, discipline, unity of direction, they don't speak to when they develop and carry out high levels. They are showing their initiative. They are allowed to develop, and carry out these efforts. Number 27, when authority is assigned to someone in order for them to make decisions, this can be best defined as, and the best answer here is delegation. When you're delegating responsibility, you're giving the authority to someone, and that's how we delegate. They are given the authority to make decisions. That's delegating. 28. Upward communication occurs when, and the best answer here is C. Employees are allowed to express their views upward, from bottom going up to the managers. Because if you say A, instructions are given to subordinates, that's down. So you bring it down to them. B, objectives are communicated to the rank and file, again down to them. D, employees coordinate tasks within their departments, that's lateral. So upward is where you are able to speak and to things that the company might be doing, and the boss hears you and they consider what you're saying. 29. The highest level of Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs is, and the answer is the pinnacle, the top of the pyramid. You have self-actualization. Everything else lead up to self-actualization. 30. Which of the following would not be classified as a hygiene factor based on Hertzberg two-factor theory? Hygiene factor. Not. And so we have pay, we have job security as hygiene, pay is hygiene, and working conditions naturally, literally, is hygiene. But the best one here is, the best answer is C, recognition. That's a motivating factor, not a hygiene. It's a motivating factor. When you get recognized, you are motivated to do better. So that's C, recognition. 31, which of the following types of financing can be classified as debt financing for a company? Debt financing meaning you go and borrow to finance whatever you want to do. And so issuing of stock is not one. That's equity financing. Debt factoring, that's just you taking a debt and getting some money for them. Then you have retained earnings. That's where you take money from your profit, the operation of the business, to finance certain things. So the best answer is debenture issue, where you would issue debentures, and those are long-term form of financing, and it's debt financing. So it's simply the value of that debenture plus interest, and you pay back to the person, right? So you have to pay them back. They don't become owner. 32. Which of the following types of liabilities is not a current liability? Current means, short term. As you have a bank overdraft, you have to repay that quickly. You have expenses owing, you have to pay that within the year. Creditors of goods, of course, you have a limited period to pay back that. The best answer is the mortgage payable. Mortgages are up to 25, 30 years, so that's a more long term. So it's more of a long term liability right there. 33. A type of external finance which offers flexibility and ability to access funds over and above bank balances is known as, and the answer here is, of course, an overdraft. When you want to see over and above bank balances, that's an overdraft. You're able to take off more than is actually on your account. So that's the overdraft right there. 34. Which of the following investment appraisal methods uses profit rather than cash flows? And so the best answer here is, of course, we did this one before. The average rate of return. All the others, they use the cash flow to come to the conclusion. But the average rate of return, they use the profit. You have to know how much capital you get, how much you profit you get from the capital that you invested, your returns. Alright, number 35. Mrs. Tillman, the accounting manager of XYZ Co. Limited, is in the process of assessing the profitability of the business. She's comparing profit with capital which has been invested in the business. Which of the following ratio is Ms. Tillman using? Clearly, if you're looking at profit versus the capital invested, we're talking about the return on capital employed. So how much you get back for what you invested. So you invested 1,000 in worth of capital. What were your returns from that? Was it 2,000, 3,000, a loss? We don't know. So that's returned on capital employed. The purpose of venture capital is to start a business. Start a business. That's what adventure, and starting a new thing, a new establishment. So that's what most VCs are there for, venture capitalist firms, to help startups get their job done, get them off the ground, get them up and running. Okay, 37. The following table is an extract of the book of XJ's Limited. And so we're looking for the gross profit ratio. So let's do some quick maths right here for this one. So to get the gross profit, right, you need the sales minus cost of goods sold. Now to get cost of goods sold, that would be the opening stock, which is 3,200. And you are going to add the purchases, which is 5,600, right? So you add the purchases, that should give you 8,800. Good. And then so that's just that part. But for that now you have to minus the closing stock. So it's 8,800. You have to minus the closing stock, minus the 2,400, and you should get 6,400. So that would be your cost of goods sold, right? No, sorry, we're not there yet. Let's get this thing look a little better. Good. So the 6,400 should be your cost of goods sold, right? Now, what are you going to do with that? So you take the cost of goods sold, which is the 6,400. Now the sales is 9,000. So you take the 9,000, and then what you do is you minus the cost of goods sold, which is 64, and that should give you around $2,600. That's right there is your gross profit. But we're looking for a percentage though. We're looking for a percentage. So what you do now is you take that, the 2400, sorry, the 2600, take the 2600 and you put that over the sales, which is 9,000, and you times that by 100 over 1, and that should give you 28 point a lot of 8s, and you round that off to the 29%, right? That should give you 29%. So that's the answer for number 37. All right, good. 38. The following information is an extract from the firm Ali and Son Limited at 31st December 2015, right? 2015. The firm's capital at the end of December is, and of course, again, assets minus liabilities, all the assets minus all liabilities, and you'll get $200,000 right there. So if we let's set up that one there. So it is 160,123 plus 300,123 equal to, that would be 460,123. So that's the assets right there, and your liabilities would be 200,123 plus 60,123, and that should equal to 260,123. And then what you do is the 460,123 minus the 260,123 equal to, of course, 200,123. Alright, so that's how we get the answer for that one. That one is A. So assets minus your liabilities. 39. The following information was taken from the books of Sam's business. And again, this is an old but good. We saw that's what this one before. And we just worked out the cost of goods sold. And so it's a very similar way. So we look at the cost of goods sold, and we know how to work that out again. So we're looking at the opening stock, which is 3,000, plus the purchases, which is 10,000, and so that would equal to, all that would equal to $13,000, 13,000, right? And so if we take that 13,000, so that's just that part. Then now you have to now add that, subtract. You have to subtract. So from the 13,000, you have to now subtract the closing stock, right? You have to subtract the closing stock, which is 2,300, and that should give us our answer right here, which is D, 10,700. All right, so that's 39. All right, good. 40. The following is an extract from the books of Carib Vibes Vacation Tour. So you have current assets, fixed assets, current liabilities, creditors, overdraft. And so we are to calculate the current ratio of Carib Vibes Vacation Tour. So we have to calculate the current ratio. What is the current ratio for this one? And for this one, we know the formula is the current assets over the current liabilities, and so you have to pull that from the extract right here. So for this one, we have our current assets being 40, right? Our current asset is 40, and our current liability would be the, down to the bottom, 10,000 plus 10,000 40,000, and that should give us 20, right? So it should be 40, 1, 2, 3 over 20,000, and that should equal to that should equal to C, which is 2. All right, so that's how we get C for number 40. All right, number 41, which of the following assets is not a current asset? And so stocks, yes. Debtors, yes. Cash at the bank, yes. But a bank draft, that's a current liability. So that's a current liability right there. Number 42, the main objective of a cash flow statement to a business is to show, so cash flow is just talking about the inflow and the outflow of the cash, right? So you're buying, while you're earning the cash and how you're spending it, right? So the inflow and the outflow of the cash, so that's A. 43. Jake would like to measure the ability of his business to pay for or cover its short-term debts from all current assets. Which of the following ratio would be most appropriate in assisting Jake? And so we're talking about how to cover your current debts. And so the best answer here is the current ratio, because the current ratio would tell you if you are able to cover your current debts, right? So if you have enough current assets to cover those debts, so current ratio would be that one. 44. Which of the following sources of finance is least likely to be used as an investment in a new product development? Again, D, the bank overdraft, because that's a short-term way of financing, whereas most of these others would present more, they would give you more significant capital finance and for a longer period. So bank overdraft can really help with product development because that's more short-term current liability kind of thing. All right, 45, the last one. In which of the following accounts is interest paid on debentures charged? And so the best answer here is, of course, profit and loss, right? Because we're paying out money. That's part of our profit and loss. That would affect our profit and loss just like that. Because debentures is stuff you owe and you're paying them out. Okay, good. So that's the end of the Cape May-June 2016 MOB Paper 1 Unit 1. Alright? So you know what to do now. You like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to know when Learn SKN drops another video. Alright? Thanks for watching and thanks for listening.